Islam is not a religion. It has religious components to it, but ultimately it's a totalitarian political ideology. And that's what they're trying to force on America.
All right, so let's say you do get into office. The three things that you say right now are critical, the most critical to help infrastructure this system in place. How do you do that? What would those three things be?
I think the biggest one right now, and we're seeing, and I'm glad we're seeing it, is to stop the rise of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
As we've seen we could go down this rabbit hole for days, but Islam comes for one reason and one reason only. It's to conquer the nation they're in and to make an Islamic state to rule by Sharia. And because we could go back to, well, why don't they immigrate to 50 plus Islamic states that are already in place? Well, they don't go there because the whole objective of Islam is to conquer the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to put a stop to that. And I always say Islam is not a religion. It has religious components to it, but ultimately it's a totalitarian political ideology. And that's what they're trying to force on America. We've seen it look at Dearborn, Michigan, and all these other places. So I think there is a path forward to protect the First Amendment still. It's like, well, we're going to ban political Islam. And you could still practice your faith component, but we are not going to ever accept Sharia. We're not going to accept this political ideology that seeks to overthrow our Constitution. And that would be the biggest one I'd want to put forth. And I think there is a path forward towards it because there's enough subject matter experts out there. There's enough analysts that have spent their life, researching this stuff where we can distinguish between the two components of Islam. So that'd be my first one. And I think secondly, and this is kind of a controversial take for a lot of people, but we need to rework our whole immigration system. It was in 1965 with the Immigration and Nationality Act that it kind of just opened the doors. It used to be a merit quota-based system, but with that act in 1965, it opened it to anyone that wants to come. If you want to come legally, you come. And we've seen when you just allow every culture, every religion, everything to come here, it takes away from our culture, our values, our system. And we've seen that the American culture has faded significantly over the years. And I think it's time to restore that. And it's not saying people can't come to this country. It's like, yes, you come, but you should be doing something for this country. You should be coming because you love this country, not just because you want to come and eventually change it.
All right, so I want to go down the Islamic rabbit hole, and one thing, and obviously it just came out, I think it was just yesterday now, Governor Abbott came out, and he's now officially deemed both the deemed the Muslim Brotherhood and the Council of American Islamic Relations as foreign terrorist and transnational criminal organizations, meaning obviously they can no longer purchase land. What's your thoughts on that?
So I want to say it's great that he did this, but again, we've seen Abbott do a lot of stuff over the years. It's mostly just empty words on paper. If there's no enforcement action behind it, then it's just dead. So we need to see that be enforced. And I don't think many people realize is the Muslim Brotherhood funds a majority of the Islamic organizations in America. You could even go to all the college campuses, all the Muslim like youth associations that are on these campuses. They're all funded by Muslim Brotherhood, funded by CARE. So it's like, well, how far are you going to take this? Are you going to start going after all these organizations? What are you going to do? I think it's a good start, but I'm not optimistic to see anything done with it.
There was something else. I think you made a tweet about a little bit ago, and you kind of talked about Governor Abbott. He was also responsible for $13 million in taxpayer funds for Islamic organizations in Texas. When you look at that, I think a lot of people say, okay, I know Texas is actually in a really bad place with Islamic growth right now. There's obviously somehow they got here. So walk us through that. How did Texas get to the place where you guys have one of the largest Islamic growths in the entire country right now?
Yeah, so I don't know if you have heard of it, but the RARE Foundation that's run by Amy Meck, it's a great organization that exposes the rise of Islam. She started her work in Europe and saw it going on over there. And then she started seeing it come in America. And with all of the research she's done, and I've spoken to other subject matter experts, is Texas is the number one target of Islam because they know if they could take a conservative stronghold like Texas and they can make a serious impact here by electing, it starts small. They always start at the local level. So school boards, city councils, mayors. And if they could start working their way up, they're going to gain control here. So it's a deliberate movement here because they know as Texas is such a conservative stronghold, if they could take Texas, they'll take America. And yeah, what Abbott's done, the 13 million to Islamic organizations, that's another way of when a few weeks ago, he even said, I ban Sharia law. Well, if you go read the House bill that he signed, there's no mention of Sharia in it. It's basically was targeted at the Epic City out of Plano. And essentially what it is, it's a Fair Housing Act for Texas. And it's like, well, we don't even need a Fair Housing Act. The federal government already has that. You can't discriminate on housing purchases, for all the categories. Right. So it's just more, I just call it political theater. I don't think anything's going to be done. Just like he said, he shut down Epic City, but that was just a flat out lie, because all it was they didn't have the right permits in place. They filed for the permits now, and now they've rebranded themselves as the Meadow. So, trying to get around the stigma attached to Epic. So there's a strong push here, and I don't have faith in Governor Abbott doing anything about it.
All right, you also brought up the Europe aspect, and I really want to pick your mind on this aspect as well, because I look at this right now, and I know we could say Europe as a whole, yes, but I think we're really going to look at the UK. They pretty much have become a very much so very near Islamic State. Obviously, the rapid growth of Muhammad being the number one name in 2024, so on and so forth. And I think we look at that, and if you are Christian and you are an American, you have to look at that with some worry, some fear and concern. I wouldn't say fear, but worry at least. Concern, I should say, is probably the proper word. And so we've seen what they've done or lack thereof. How do you alter now and make sure that we as Americans, which are not in that state yet, do not get to that point?
I think one key thing that the federal government needs to do is, I think any elected official needs to be a natural born citizen. I think it should be fit the same level as the presidency, because we see the Muslims in office right now in America. Most are foreign born. And if we keep allowing that, and many people don't realize, is Islam works hand in hand with the left, even though the religious side and the Sharia side of Islam fundamentally opposes everything the left stands for. So they oppose everything they stand for, but they know they can manipulate and influence them and get into office. And that's what it's about bringing awareness. Like, I always love Hosea 4:6, my people die for a lack of knowledge. People just need to educate themselves on Islam. It's super simple too. It's not like it's hidden. Pick up a Quran, read it, read the Hadith, read the Sunnah. All this stuff's clear. Listen to these imams on YouTube. They put their plans out there, and it's like it's in broad daylight now. So either you're going to sit in the dark and just allow this to happen, or you're going to educate yourself and start getting involved in the local elections and start vetting these people, or we're going to end up like Europe. And again, Europe, it's not even a majority Muslim nation. They're still the minority, but they've risen up the ranks, and now they're in power.
If this conversation blessed you today, please hit the like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps YouTube push this message to more people who need to hear it. If you're listening on audio, a 5-star review is a huge help. Share this episode with a friend or family member who needs encouragement, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.